Are you ready for chapter 10? The festival begins. They got to the park before noon. A large group of their classmates was already there. Everyone was talking about the missing gawk. "We think it's a dog," said a boy named John. "We found a red dog hair." "We think it's a butterfly," said a girl named Ella. "We found a cocoon." "We found 5 ladybugs," said a girl named Sally. "Could a gawk be a ladybug?" A voice interrupted them. "Thank you for coming." They all turned. It was Mr. Mack, the owner of the new store. He stood on a small stage. He smiled at the crowd. "Can everyone please take a seat?" Everyone sat down on the folding chairs facing the stage. "Welcome to the first ever Fruitvale April Fool's Festival," said Mr. Mack. "Mrs. Mack and I have had a lot of fun planning this event. We hope you've had a lot of fun too." Mrs. Mack walked onto the stage. "Everyone is invited to stop by our store after the festival," she said. "We'll be open all day." "She looks familiar," said Dottie. Lizzie was sitting in front of them. She turned around. "She's my mom." That's why I recognized her," said Dottie. "We met her with you." "Is the new store yours?" asked Casey. Lizzie nodded. "Can you tell us the name of it?" asked Casey. "I can tell you the address," said Lizzie. "It's number 3 Fruitvale Park Road." "Number 3, said Casey. "Wasn't there a number 3 in one of the clues?" "Can I have your attention?" called Mrs. Mack from the stage. "Do we have volunteers for the look-alike contest?" Dottie and Casey raised their hands. Other people raised their hands too. Mrs. Mack invited them onto the stage. "Will the judges please come up?" asked Mrs. Mack. Lizzie ran up to the stage. "Are you the judge?" asked Casey. "I'm one of them," said Lizzie. "The other one's coming." Dottie and Casey stared as another girl ran up on the stage. They felt like they were seeing double. The girl looked exactly like Lizzie. "I'm Kate," said the other judge. "She's my sister," said Lizzie. "We're twins," said Kate. "I'm the one you met looking at the sign for the festival." "I'm the one who loves frogs and brownies," said Lizzie. "We thought you were the same person," said Dottie. We're used to it," said Kate. "It happens all the time," said Lizzie. Dottie and Casey looked from one twin to the other. "You look taller than Kate," Dottie said to Lizzie. "She looks a whole inch taller," Casey said to Kate. "Wow," said Kate. "Hardly anyone ever notices that." "Most people think we're exactly the same," said Lizzie. "You two would make great detectives," Dottie and Casey smiled. They lined up for their turn in the contest. Mrs. Mack called out their names. Dottie and Casey tried to walk exactly the same way. They held out their matching notebooks and pens as they walked. They stopped at the same time. They wrote in their notebooks. They put their notebooks in their back pockets. They tossed their braids behind their shoulders. Then they smiled their biggest smiles. The crowd cheered. There were other contestants. There was a mother and daughter look-alike. There was a brother and sister look-alike. There was even a man and his dog look-alike. Finally, it was time to pick the winners. Lizzie and Kate walked across the stage, studying all the contestants. "We picked Dottie," said Lizzie. "And Casey," said Kate. The crowd cheered again. "Do we win a gawk?" asked Casey. "We'll give out prizes later," said Mrs. Mack. "But I have medals for you now." Lizzie gave a medal to Dottie. Casey gave one to Kate. "Now it's time for the egg juggling contest," announced Mrs. Mack. Casey, Dottie, Lizzie, and Kate sat down. "I thought Leon was going to enter the contest," said Dottie. Casey looked around. "Where is Leon?" Leon was nowhere to be seen. "Look," Dottie said to Casey. "Your mother is juggling eggs." Casey looked at the stage. Her mother was trying to juggle 3 eggs. She dropped them all and laughed. Everyone laughed with her. "Did you know your uncle could juggle?" asked Casey. Dottie looked. Her Uncle Eddie was trying to juggle 4 eggs. He dropped them all too. Everyone laughed some more. Anyone else? Anyone else? Asked Mrs. Mack. Warren Bunn and Derek Fleck ran onto the stage. They threw their eggs at each other. Mrs. Bunn and Mrs. Fleck ran over and chased them back to their seats. "We have 2 winners," said Mr. Mack. He gave the medals to Mrs. Callender and Uncle Eddie. The crowd cheered. "Does my mom win at Gawk?" asked Casey. "Does anyone know what a Gawk is?" asked Mr. Mack. People called out their ideas. A dog, a butterfly, a salamander, a cat, a hummingbird, a fish. "Dottie," someone called. "Casey." Dottie and Casey turned. It was Leon. They ran over to him. Leon whispered in their ears. Dottie and Casey whispered in Leon's ear. The 3 friends smiled at each other. "I guess no one figured it out," Mr. Mack said to the crowd. "Wait," Casey said. "We figured it out," Leon added. Dottie smiled. "We know where the missing Gawk is." Everyone got quiet and waited. The Callender Club ran onto the stage to explain. That's the end of the chapter. You know how it goes. I'll see you next time for our last chapter, Chapter 11. Yay! Bye.